What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Multiverse Monologues, the podcast show where we like to travel across the multiverses and fandoms that we love to talk about the movies and television shows that accompany those universes. And today, we're taking a look back and also a look ahead at the future of what the film industry is going to bring us in 2023. But before we go and kind of go through our anticipated projects, we're going to take a look back at 2022 because 2022 was a huge year for films and television alike. I would say since COVID happened, this is probably the biggest the film and television industry has been since that all went down. And we have had so many projects, some good and some bad, and we are here to talk about it. Not just me. Ethan Wensloff is here with us as usual. Ethan, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm always excited to go back to the past and even more excited to go back to the future to look at 2023, which we are currently in. So yes, I'm pumped to do this today. 2022 was a year that brought us a lot of good, a lot of disappointing, and quite a bit of bad. So I'm excited to talk about it. But I'm more excited to be here with you two, fine gentlemen.
Yes, Ethan is referencing Mr. Micah Head. Micah, how are you doing today?
I am doing very well. And while 2022 was no 2019, I think 2019 was like peak movie year. There were lots of great films that came out that year, fandom or not. And this year, I think we finally got right back into the swing of things, and all these cool movies that were delayed have finally come out, and we got a lot of great stuff. So I'm excited to talk about it. Excited to talk about my favorite movies and projects from this year.
We had, if I'm not mistaken, 2 movies pass $1 billion at the box office this year, which is great. Hasn't happened since 2019. And a movie that stayed in theaters for over 20 weeks out of the year, which is absolutely insane. So Morbius, yes. We also had the most movie of all time, and is in Morbius.
But that has returned to cinemas
with two releases this year.
Yes, more than any other movie this year.
Hasn't happened since Endgame. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's also
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, we did have the Spider-Man movie this year. Also,
that is true.
The more fun stuff edition.
Indeed.
Check out the YouTube channel. Great video.
Indeed, absolutely. Video. Absolutely. Micah's laughing about that, but it's absolutely serious. And so kind of what I wanted to do here is go through 2022 and go for first disappointing / bad projects of this year. Because for as much good as we got, we also got bad, disappointing projects of the year. And it's also pretty interesting because Ethan and I did this style video podcast last year, and we went through our most exciting picks throughout. And it's interesting to see where we're at now, a year removed from this stuff. So I want to focus on disappointing / bad first. And I have 5 projects on my list. We're not going to go through any particular order here. We're just going to go one at the other. And if we do have another, like the same project on our disappointing list, chime in as well. Just say, okay, I've also got that on my list. But when we talk about our best projects of 2022, we're going to go in order 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's going to be interesting. But let's start it off with disappointing projects first. And we'll shoot it to Micah first. What would you have as your first project that really disappointed you, or maybe that you would just say is bad?
Like most disappointment, or number 5 on my disappointment meter?
This one doesn't need to be ranked.
Okay.
This is just, what do you think is bad?
I'll say the first one that came to my mind, the one project that I can say disappointed me, huge disappointment, hated the whole thing, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. I think that is the worst thing to come out of 2022. There was no correlation between the episodes. There was no character growth. She never changed throughout the show. There was no villain. The real villain was there was no threat. I don't know. It just seemed like the show could have had way more substance to it, and the best part about the show is Daredevil, and I'm sure Ethan will agree with me on that. And he made the whole show, those last 2 episodes, insanely better just by existing and having some anything to add to the show. Every other character I felt was forgettable or pointless. And we just did our Incredible Hulk podcast. They changed Abomination's character so much that it was indeed an abomination.
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
Yeah, so She-Hulk is not on my list, and it's because we're doing the most disappointed projects.
Yeah.
I'd agree with you that She-Hulk could have been better, but to me, I wasn't anticipating it. The lead-up wasn't there. I wasn't like, this is going to be mind-blowing. She-Hulk's going to be fantastic. No, She-Hulk was fine. I thought there was some good, some bad. You know, most people hate on it, so I feel like I have to defend it in that way to where I don't think it's hot trash. I think it's fine. You know, it's just averagely mediocre. But for me, there are a lot more disappointing things that happened this year than She-Hulk.
Yes, I'm with Ethan on that one. You have to be in the right mindset. You have to know why the show was made and who the audience is for. And I think maybe that gets a lot better. But I do agree with you, Mike. It's one of the worst things Marvel has put out in Phase 4, like in general, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it needed a story. If it had an overarching plot, just something, anything at all, then it would have made this show worth it. But you can completely skip this show and I'm sure not even miss a thing.
I agree. Ethan, give us a project that you were disappointed in.
This is like a soft disappointment, but I'll go in my fifth spot. I have The Walking Dead season 11, which was the ending of this hugely popular show. I know at points in all of our lives we have watched The Walking Dead, you know, and dropping off at various points. Ben was as recent as this season 11. He didn't finish it, but yeah, this was highly disappointing. I think for a show that had lots of up and downs, this was easily the worst season to come out of the show. And the fact that it was your last season, just it didn't sit right. And it also ended the show, but it didn't end the character stories, because just this year we have 3 new shows coming out. We have a Maggie Negan spinoff, we have a Rick and Michonne spinoff, and we have a Daryl Dixon spinoff. So it was an ending, but it wasn't an ending. And I thought the quality of it significantly dropped from what I thought were decent season 9 and season 10s.
I will say, like, it probably would be on my list if I even finished it, but It was so uninteresting and unappealing to me to sacrifice that time to watch the show to where I was like, I don't want to watch it. It probably would be on my list, but it's not on my list for that reason. Micah, you don't watch Walking Dead, do you?
I watched a couple at the beginning, but I dropped off.
Yeah, okay. Very disappointing. I will agree with you on that, though. I'm sure, like, I feel it, though, because I watched the first couple episodes. So I'm with you on that one.
I heard a guy from Fear the Walking Dead just died. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
Like an actor?
Yeah, an actor. A young one, like 15, 16-year-old.
Oh.
Anyway. Yeah.
Whoa. Dang. Holy catfish, man.
I didn't know that.
Didn't know that either. I'm going to go with Moon Knight as mine. This is probably my least disappointing / bad one on my list, but I had a lot. I actually had like anticipation going into this show for it to be a dark, gritty Marvel take on a superhero with Egyptian themes. And it didn't really deliver on that, in my opinion. I believe his multiple personality disorder could have been explored better. The action scenes, which I was most excited for, were very disappointing. There was maybe a couple that really stood out. I think the ending really falls flat on my... And I just was never into it. I was never into each episode. I was like, okay, let's go ahead and watch this episode. I don't know. I'm saying that's disappointing because I was going into it with anticipation. I didn't do that with many projects of Marvel's this year, but that was one of them in March. And it did not exceed my expectations. Many of those action scenes that could have been cool were like cut because in the show's excuse, it used it to switch personalities or skip the personality and stay with the same personality, just not show you what happened. I kind of want to see what happens, especially at the end. And you're teased at the end with Jake Lockley in the end credit scene, and I don't know if they're making a season 2. So they've said that maybe they're going to do, like, this was going to be a one and done thing. So why hold this interesting character all season for you to not then do anything with it. Maybe they will do something with it, but they've announced almost all the way up through phase 6, and there's nothing left. So there was just stuff that was left to be desired, in my opinion, with Moon Knight. So that's on my disappointing.
Yeah, I can see how you can say that. Personally, Ethan Parker and we were doing the podcast for that one, and I was hyped every week going up to it, and I really liked the things that you said that you didn't like. Personally, my take was that I like those. I like that they cut it out and they're like, whoa, what just happened? Getting your whiplash from it. And in a good way for me personally. But yeah, Ethan, what do you have to say?
I'd say a spoiler alert for my top 5, but this doesn't make it. But I'd say if the finale was better, I would
definitely
highly consider it, because I disagree with you, Ben. I really enjoyed this show for the first 5 episodes. I thought everything they did with Mark Spector and Moon Knight and the cutaways and just the way the story was told and the way the mystery unfolded, I thought it was super compelling. I was so excited every week to sit down and not only watch it, but talk about it with you, Micah. So yeah, I understand how you could say that's disappointing. I think the finale was for sure disappointing.
Yeah.
I really like the mystery behind it all too.
Yeah.
Like, was it all real?
And Oscar
was
Isaac killed it.
I will say
he gave a
that
hell of a
for sure
performance.
is not debatable. He was excellent in the show. But if I had anticipation for it, it did not meet that anticipation. So
Ethan Hawke,
that's
too.
where it goes.
He killed it.
Yeah.
Wasn't a
I agree.
fan of him.
Oh.
The villain was, I think, one of Marvel's weaker ones. If you can, Marvel has a lot of weak ones, but he's one of the weaker ones.
As far as Marvel shows go this year, is that the number one that came out?
Number one
Marvel show that came out this
Yes,
year.
I would say better
Moon
than
Knight would be
She-Hulk
number
and
one.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
But I had nothing.
Yeah, we didn't have anything
anticipation
going
for
into
that.
those.
So
Yeah.
that wouldn't make the list, even
Okay.
though I'd say they're
Okay.
worse.
Yeah.
So, Micah, hit us with your next one.
Next bottom, I will say Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Whoa.
I was very disappointed in this movie. I thought it was missing a lot of things. I don't know. I didn't like how it relied on the death of Chadwick Boseman for the emotional, like, gut-wrenching part of the movie. Like, it had a little bit at the beginning where it said, okay, T'Challa died, and now we see she's going through this like, how can I fix this? How could I have fixed this? Could I have harnessed this power of the Black Panther to heal him? And it just didn't. And then throughout the movie, we see, okay, now we have Ironheart, and it's like the story of going to get Ironheart is, it was a bit on the cringe side for me.
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like Ironheart's personality as much, and if we're gonna have Ironheart as the main character for the next Avenger, for the new Avengers, I don't know if I'll like that. I don't know. I just don't like her personality. It's not like an unlikable person in the way that Tony Stark is, where I wouldn't hang out with Tony Stark just because of how he is. Like, there are characters that
You don't enjoy watching her.
I don't enjoy watching her.
I agree.
And she's trying to be a relatable college student, and I'm a college student. I don't relate with her. And yeah, it's just the wrong crowd for me. I don't know. Not as universal as a main
To
character.
you, what was the thing that disappointed you about this movie that justified putting it here?
People said that it was a really emotional movie, and that it was like, because I missed a couple of days. I think I saw it on Saturday instead of Thursday, like I normally do. And people were like, "Oh, this movie is really good. It's really emotional. I was crying at the end, and the action is really good, and all this stuff." Then I go into it, and like I said, it relies on if you were attached to Chadwick Boseman, and if you were really into the first movie, and like super. It's not the movie itself is not independent of another thing. You have to watch. I mean, yeah, it's a sequel, sure, but you have to know what the story around the movie is. Yeah, you have to know.
Yeah.
And they don't give you that in the movie. You have to know that going in.
Huh.
That's how I felt.
In order for you to get the message of the movie,
and yeah,
you have to
the
know
emotional gut-wrenching feeling did not
what
happen
happened.
because I was not attached to Chadwick Boseman at all.
Yeah.
I thought he was an okay actor.
And
really, it's sad that he died. I'm not saying that it was bad. Like,
Yeah. You
Well,
can
yeah.
get me and Ben's full thoughts on this because we did a Black Panther podcast. But no, we do talk about this a little in our podcast about how you do need to have real life circumstances put into play and know that Chadwick passed away, and how the sequel is not the sequel anyone wanted coming after Black Panther, the first one. But you do have to put real life into it and know that all the cast, the director and Ryan Coogler, and even the MCU, they wanted a different movie. No one wanted this movie, but it's what they had to make, and I thought that they did a fantastic job at doing what they had to do. And I do think that all the stuff, the emotional side of Chadwick's death, I think it plays really well into the film. And I do think it is long. It is a little slow at points, but I think that the heart of the film is there. And it didn't make my top 10, but I did enjoy Black Panther.
I did like the world building. I thought it was really cool how they brought in the Aztecs in that underwater city. And the first movie, I felt they were trying to match the same level as the first movie, right? Where they had this world that you didn't even know about was there. So that was cool. That was the movie wasn't complete garbage. That's why it wasn't the worst on my list. So yeah, it has things there. It's good. But personally, not my thing.
That's a hot take, man. I would say I would put it more towards the like side than the disappointing side, but I think you've laid out your case very well.
Yeah. Reminded me a lot of Avatar 2.
Avatar 2? Did you see that?
I haven't seen Avatar 2, but I feel like it was it blew people in the water. What else?
That could be.
I haven't seen it yet.
Talk to me when you've seen the movie, though.
I will.
Yeah. Ethan, hit us with your next project.
My next project, I'll go the Book of Boba Fett right here, because this was a show that no one was incredibly hyped for. We knew, we know Boba Fett. Yeah, Boba Fett, he's coming, and we saw him in Mandalorian season 2. It was really cool, and he's this character that we've always wanted to know more of. He was in the original trilogy, and he dies, quote unquote. They resurrect him in this, so we're like, all right, they're bringing the character back. They have to do something cool with him. And to me, the actual Boba Fett story in the show was so bad and so boring. They do nothing with him. They bring in teenage gangsters on Vespa speeder bikes. It was just so uninteresting, so boring. They made this character who, Tamara Morrison will even agree, is boring now. He's supposed to be the scariest bounty hunter in all the galaxy, and he's just boring. And I'd say where the show does get interesting is when they bring an actual interesting character in The Mandalorian. They bring Din Djarin in, but as you did that, you ruin the season 2 ending of Mandalorian. And now we have Mandalorian season 3 coming up, but you have the Book of Boba Fett in the middle of that kind of is just this mess. And I don't know on this podcast how deep we want to get into spoilers on everything we discuss. Is there a range we want to do?
I would say go full spoilers. If you haven't seen these.
So how about on disappointing projects, we go spoilers, and then on the best, we don't do spoilers because we want people to watch.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's fine. Yep.
Yeah, so bringing in Cad Bane in this was, it was all right. It was cool to see him, but they really do nothing with him.
C-tier CGI too.
Yeah.
It wasn't even CGI.
I mean,
it was practical.
C-tier makeup. I've seen.
Yeah.
So does the Book of Boba Fett make any of your guys' lists?
I also put it on my bottom, just because I was hyped for the show too. But it was a Mandalorian show. It was Din Djarin for half of it. Mm-hmm. And while I disagree, I did like the Boba Fett stuff. I thought it was really cool to see how he transformed into this
boring
kind of
character.
Warrior. I liked it. And then we got the Rancor at the end. I thought that was sick. How it builds up
to sell toys. Yeah, for sure.
To sell toys. I didn't see any Rancor toys out
Why
there.
didn't he grab
the only Rancor toy I saw was the $100 price up mark for the Lego Rancor.
Jeez, yeah.
Drove the price way up, this stupid show.
Tell me why he grabs a Rancor instead of the Slave One.
Well, it's not called the Slave One anymore.
What do they call it now?
I don't know.
Boba Fett's Starship.
Yeah, it's pretty lame.
Oh, boy.
Can't do slaves anymore.
Well, I liked it. I was a little bit disappointed that the whole show wasn't Book of Boba Fett.
You put this in your bottom?
I put it in my bottom.
Too?
Yes,
okay.
Because half of it is... If it weren't called Book of Boba Fett, if it were just Mandalorian Season 3, I think it would have been a better name for it.
But it still didn't have enough of either to justify either name.
But it's still a Mandalorian, and if it's about the Mandalorians,
I'd say if they wanted to tell this Boba Fett story, they easily could have done it in a Mandalorian season 3 because
take an episode.
Substance-wise, what did we accomplish?
Like take one episode to do Boba Fett's. It used to be called the Book of Boba Fett's, like 1 or 2 episodes, and
where Din Djarin goes with.
Yeah.
There
were definitely some missteps in the show. Those cyberpunk dudes, very disappointing.
The 360 spin move.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to look
Fennec
at this.
Shand, isn't there, right?
She is. It did not make my list, and I heavily thought about putting it there. But I feel like the good in this show outweighs the bad. Now, I recognize that Boba Fett's story was horribly trash, but he's never had an interesting story. He's just been tough guy.
What about the Christmas special?
Okay, all right, you got me there, but he's just been tough guy. So you can't have tough guy be main guy of your show. You have to give the character substance. Now, unfortunately, the substance that they gave his character was after all of that interesting part that we would have liked to see. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes in the future. And so as a whole, the Book of Boba Fett disappointed me, but the good in that show is why it didn't make it on my list, because the Luke Skywalker episode when he was training Grogu is enough for me to not put it on disappointed, because that episode was probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen, one of the best episodes of Star Wars television I will ever see in my life. That was so good. And I look back fondly at that time, even though there were some bad episodes. But I would rank this lower. Like, it would be, as far as 2022 projects go, this would be on the lower end.
There's the Darksaber stuff, too. All of the stuff with the Darksaber, I loved it.
Yes.
I loved seeing how they're fighting over the Darksaber, and then there's the duel, and he's kicked out of the Mandalorian.
But all the good from this, could have been in Mandalorian season 3.
It could have.
Is it a good Boba Fett show? No, it's not.
I think that they mistitled it, just like with a different show.
Yeah, the flashbacks, I love that you highlight that. The flashbacks in the show, when they introduced that as a concept, you were heavily interested. Flashbacks to Boba Fett? This character is so interesting. But they choose every flashback they give us to take place after he gets out of the Rancor or the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, we never get we get a couple flashbacks on Camino, but I wanted more on Camino.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't get that.
Unfortunately not. So I do not disagree that was a disappointment. But I am going to go with a project that probably many people have forgotten about. It came and went, but I did not forget about this
Sandman.
show. No, not that one. I didn't watch that one, but I did watch Halo.
Oh.
I forgot about that. I didn't have HBO.
I didn't forget about it,
Plus, right?
but I didn't watch it.
That was, as a massive fan of the Halo games, as someone who has played through each and every Halo game, except for the new one, I haven't had time. This show disappointed me on all levels. The very first episode, Master Chief takes off his helmet. Right there, I am uninterested. Jeez. He never takes off his helmet in the games. Right there, I'm uninterested. He tests his helmet off for most of the show. The middle part of this show is so unbelievably boring, it's not even funny. The main character is not Master Chief. It's not Master Chief. It's some Asian chick called Quan. She has given so much screen time. It is so disappointing to me that this is what they decided to do with this epic television series. There are some cool action sequences, I guess, but they're filmed so strange. The fight choreography is, I don't know where that they were trying to, what they were trying to do with this show, but it massively disappointed me as a Halo fan on all different levels. But there was no really surprise of that, because the writers of this show, they didn't read or do any study of the lore. So that's all it is. And I guess there's an episode in a scene where Master Chief has sex with some alien chick who's a part of the Covenant. Just mind-bogglingly stupid. I have no idea why this happened. It could have been Spartans versus aliens. That's all you needed to do. But they decided to take Master Chief and pair him with this Asian chick with his helmet off for the whole season. So Very, very disappointing as a Halo fan, and I don't know how it got renewed for a season 2. But I will not be watching.
If you want to watch a good Halo show, watch Red vs. Blue. There you go.
There you go. That's what you need to watch. So,
spoiler for Ben's most anticipated project, season 2 of Halo is not on there, but it is coming in March.
Oh boy, I will not be watching the second season. I want nothing to do with that show. All right, Micah, hit us with your next project.
I'm gonna go with, although I ranked it pretty highly in our podcast, I will say Thor: Love and Thunder was a bit of a disappointment. While I enjoyed it, in some ways, it wasn't what it should have been. It wasn't what it needed to be. And to bring back Natalie Portman's character just to make her a punchline in every single scene about cancer, I don't know about that.
So I will probably speak for all of us when I say that this is on all of our lists.
Yeah.
But I will let Ethan go first because I know that he has some very passionate feelings toward the show the longer he thinks about it.
Yes, to me, this is the worst thing for me that came out this year, and the most disappointing thing that came out this year, and the worst MCU film to date, and I will stand by that. Ever.
Worse?
Ever. This is worse than anything Marvel Studios has done, and I will stand by that. This is so incredibly disappointing to me. You have Taika Waititi, who, leading up to the release of this film, I watched his movies leading up to this film. That's how excited I was for this and how just excited I was rolling off Thor Ragnarok. I thought Thor Ragnarok was great in my opinion, and
yes,
what he did with the character and how he took this character that was mostly Shakespearean and they made him funny, but the heart was still there in Ragnarok. There was still stakes in Ragnarok. In this movie, they take all the stakes, all the heart out of it. It is just Thor being stupid the whole movie. And then you cast Christian Bale on top of that as Gore the God Butcher. You cut half his scenes. He doesn't kill one god in this movie. I even read the whole God of Thunder run leading up to this with Gore the God Butcher. I was ready for this film. I was it was probably the most excited I was for anything this year, and it let me down so much. I thought the humor was bad. The characters were annoying, and yeah, the handling of the cancer storyline. I thought with the cancer storyline and with Thor and with Gore that this was going to be a movie that made me cry. It was going to be emotional. It was anything but that. It just made me angry.
This movie is so bad that it almost tarnishes Ragnarok's. Like it has made me go and rethink. Like, wait a minute, do I like Ragnarok? It's that bad? I do
rewatch Ragnarok.
I do like Ragnarok. It's top 10 in my opinion, which is what makes it that much more maddening. Because how can you go from that movie to this dumpster fire of a film?
And you cannot tell me that. So we're gonna watch Thor in our Marvel movie marathon coming up here. The importance of wielding Mjolnir. You have to be worthy. You have to be worthy. Now, I have no problem with Jane Foster wielding Mjolnir. My thing is, I don't think the current Thor, the state that Thor is at right now, I do not think he should be able to wield Mjolnir. He is not worthy. And that's the worst part about it.
The ending fight, too, when he empowers all the stupid kids. What kind of a final epic ending is that? That is so disappointing. Why didn't you do that during the Battle of Wakanda? Why didn't you do that any other time? If you can just magically grant kids these powers, why didn't you go to Odin and grab his thunderbolt in the first place? Or whatever his face is. Zeus was another disappointing piece of crap.
Oh, but no, hold on, Ben. The same argument can be held for Thor: Love and Thunder that you had for She-Hulk. Maybe we're not the audience for Thor: Love and Thunder. Maybe because if you turn your brain off and enjoy the movie, like what I was doing, I went in fully like, okay, Taika Waititi, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna whatever. He's gonna amp up the comedy, I'm sure. I enjoyed the movie when it came out, and I think it's a lot of cheap laughs, a lot of just whatever movie. You take your dad to it, he's gonna laugh a lot, and that's unfortunately that's where he geared this movie towards.
No, I think he just missed the mark.
He did miss the mark.
He did miss the mark.
Their cut of the movie.
No, I don't know what audience would enjoy this. This was
my dad would like this movie.
This was terrible.
I like this movie.
It's
like
so bad that like when people tell me that they enjoyed it, I'm like, how could you go enjoy that? It doesn't help that it was during a time where Marvel jokes were becoming a fatigue. Like, I did not want to see Marvel jokes. I was wishing their movies would be taken more seriously.
That's another reason why Wakanda Forever was so refreshing.
Yes.
The lack of humor.
Because it was...
That was nice. It did take itself seriously.
Yeah.
I think we've spent too much time even giving this the
light of day.
The light of day. So let's move on. Ethan, what do you got for us next? I believe we
next. I will go Morbius.
For
disappointing.
For
yes, come on. Disappointing. No, we're not on top.
No,
right?
Not yet. I think we each have like 2 more projects.
Okay.
Yes,
I've got one more.
So
talked about
Morbius. We weren't expecting a bunch going into this. No one was. But it was the trailers.
I was.
And the hinting at Spider-Man.
Oh, good point.
The marketing made us believe that there was a Spider-Man in this movie.
No Way Home just came out.
Yes.
And we're hyping up Morbius, the next Spider-Man adjacent project. What could be in it?
This is going to be multiversal. This is going to be exciting. And I'm not saying my hype was the most there for Morbius, but it disappointed me. I thought it was a averagely bad movie, and there's nothing else I want to say about Morbius.
I like it ironically.
I like it ironically as well.
The
memes made it worth it. But
it's ridiculous sometimes.
You said Spider-Man adjacent. This movie could not be more Spider-Man adjacent than you could possibly get. It has everything but Spider-Man in this freaking movie.
Literally has the Vulture in it.
And that's bad. That's bad. So
it's got something to do with Spider-Man.
I think intriguing. Oh man, I'm gonna go with my second to last one was Halloween Ends.
Okay.
I am a massive Halloween fan. I watch all the movies, not all of them, but all the core ones.
All 13 of them?
Yeah, right. I watch all of them every year, and every Halloween. That's how I get into it, man. I get into
all of them every year.
But I watch Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills. Okay. I love all of those movies.
1 and 2 are good. And
those are the only good ones.
Yeah.
Those are the only good ones. I love
H2O?
all those movies. I haven't seen that one, actually.
Oh, I heard that one's good.
I'm planning on watching it this year.
I've seen all of them up to H2O. I didn't watch H2O.
This Halloween Ends would be my most disappointing, if not for my most disappointed.
But we know what it is.
It is so mind-bogglingly bad that they took the reason I watch Halloween and they sidelined him and made a new killer. And it is so, I can't even understand how you make that decision because Michael Myers is not in this movie. He's given 5 minutes of screen time in this movie until the last 20 minutes.
Are you serious?
How in the world could you do that? How could you do that to the epic finale of this? And both of the other movies I really, really like. And then you go and absolutely ruin it. It is literally as simple as possessing a boy and making him the new Michael Myers. That sounds stupid, but that is what the movie is. And it doesn't get interesting. Watch the last 20 minutes, and that's all you need to do. And even then, it's disappointing. This movie is so trash that my brother warned me. He saw it before I did. He said, please do not watch it. And I was like, I have to make up my own mind. And I watched it, and I wish I would have listened to him because it's that bad. I will not be rewatching this every year. I will be throwing this out the window because it's that bad. I am so passionately angry about this that, oh, man, I want to throw my phone right now just thinking about it. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead, Micah.
Before Ben says anything, I just want to say I did like the Darth Vader Obi-Wan fight. I did like there were some really cool things with Obi-Wan.
No, wait. I think someone's going to line up here. Are you about to say Kenobi?
Oh, yeah.
Kenobi is on my list. Is Kenobi on your list?
Kenobi is my most disappointed.
I know.
We collectively agree that Kenobi should be right here. So go ahead.
I just wanted to jump ahead of Ben and get my good things out.
Go ahead. I'll let you guys talk, and then I want to say something.
Because Kenobi does have things in it. I put it as number 5. So, like, my best of the worst. So I don't think it was complete garbage. I think that there were some, like, I love the Darth Vader and Obi-Wan stuff. I love the Anakin where he's just like always haunting. I love the flashback to, what was it, like episode 2 around then when they had that training session. That was cool. There are some really cool elements in this movie. not movie, in the show that should have been a movie. And it's just, they focus on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
That's
I
where
agree.
it's disappointing.
Yeah, I'll come in now before Ben goes completely hammo.
He's going to get everything we
Yeah,
don't
I
get.
do think there are some elements to this that are enjoyable. The Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fight at the end is okay, and the rest of the show just isn't, though. It just isn't. It is so clearly a movie that was cut up into a show, and I don't even think if this story was made as a movie, I don't even think that would be good. The inclusion of Reva as a character, if you're going to have a show with the villain as Darth Vader, let Darth Vader be the villain. You don't need... Inquisitors are cool, but not when they're the villain.
Or at least make the Inquisitors intimidating.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that, like Fallen Order, they do it just fine.
Yeah, but no, it was so like... This was... Leading up to this, Ben was so hyped for this. We were all real excited for this. And the way that they did the story, and they just made this story that should have been next level. They made it really uninteresting, and it was a big letdown. And Ben, I will let you take it away right now.
So last year I said we did this style, and my number one most anticipated project for 2022 was indeed Obi-Wan Kenobi. My favorite movie, my second favorite movie of all time is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. This is a direct sequel to that movie. So let me go and pitch you guys something real quick right here. All right? We're going to do a story with Obi-Wan Kenobi set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. And we're going to make Darth Vader the main villain. And we're going to have the Grand Inquisitor, we're going to have the fifth brother, and it's going to be about Obi-Wan dodging them. But you know who's going to get more screen time than Darth Vader? A random Inquisitor who we've never seen before, who we're going to give her a whole story that's wrapped up in their plot. Some guy in the background. Why would you do that? You already have Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. Isn't that enough? No, it's not. We want Reva. Reva is main focus. Oh, we also want Princess Leia to be in this whole show. Actually, I want her to meet Obi-Wan Kenobi before the events of Episode 4, New Hope. But won't that mess with canon? Who cares? I want her in this movie. It's going to sell. It's going to be awesome. But we're going to keep it a secret. Kind of like a Baby Yoda reveal. But why would you do that? Because we want to sell toys and we want to have an epic show. All right. Well, can we at least have prequel themes? Nope. No prequel themes.
Can we
at
at least connect it to the extended universe, such as
Cal
Fallen Order?
Kestis.
Cal
Nope.
Kestis? Nope.
Can't do
Can
that.
we have any Rebels references? Nope. Nothing.
This show.
Can we have this take place on boring planets and film the whole thing on the volume?
Oh, you betcha.
Yeah,
Now
we can
that
do
sounds
that.
like a
We
good
can do
idea. Can we cut the budget of this show to half of what it is in the Mandalorian episodes? But isn't this Obi-Wan Kenobi? It's fine. Whatever. That's fine.
Can we go to Coruscant to the cool levels? No.
How in the world do you get this wrong? This is a softball. I don't say this often, but I could have written a better story. Wow. How do you do this? How can this?
And just for comparison, it doesn't help that in the exact same year that this Obi-Wan Kenobi show came out, we had Star Wars Andor, which does everything that Kenobi doesn't as far as world building goes, as far as writing goes, as far as character work goes. If you could have done this with Kenobi, a character that we already love to death, it would have been fantastic.
Yep.
Also,
But unfortunately,
the Lego set sucks.
the Lego sets do suck. Unfortunately, that's what happens. So I will say this: the final fight between Vader and Kenobi is actually peak.
You
like
didn't kill Anakin.
I did. Like the dialogue,
Yeah.
the duel is epic.
Good.
Actually, hold on. Wait a minute. I want to cut between Reva going to Tatooine and attacking Luke Skywalker in between that final fight.
Yeah.
So you can be taken out of that moment. It's stupid. It's so stupid,
Yeah, and an
man.
Inquisitor attacks young Luke Skywalker.
That's the dumbest thing
That
I've
really-
ever heard.
Yeah.
Why? It's so
And he
mind-bogglingly
survives, a
stupid.
defenseless child somehow.
It is a softball project that could have been so great. And yet again, Disney has messed it up big time. And that's what you get when you hire someone, a writer who doesn't know the source material and a director who is a fill-in, who has a story that was from Disney.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. That is my most disappointing project of 2022. Even though there are some points that I really, really like.
We have to talk about the fact that they brought back Hayden Christensen and barely used the guy
Out of his Canadian farmland retirement.
Yeah,
They freaking brought him out of retirement. We did not get a single Clone Wars flashback. How can you do that? How? Oh, because we actually didn't watch the Clone Wars. We don't actually know what's going on, so we can't really tie that into the narrative very well. Oh.
Dave who? How do you pronounce that?
Unfortunately, fortunately, I should say, Dave was off making actually like peak Star Wars content, so whatever. That's fine. But, that is for sure.
We have to highlight the beautiful score that was in Loki by, Natalie Holt?
Yep.
How she also did the score for this and let us down.
The score is so weird for this show because she did half of it, and then this other guy, William Ross, did the other half of it, which is like, what? It's just so mind-bogglingly stupid, almost as bad as the sequels, but it doesn't ruin the Skywalker saga like the sequels do. So it has a leg up on that. And I will say that everything that Darth Vader does in the show is perfect. So there is that. It does have positives. It's just the negatives are so glaringly obvious that you could have cut that's how much it is. We've spent too much time on this anyway. You guys have more, or is that it?
That's it for me.
That's
it
for
me.
For the bottoms.
All right. So that does it. If you're watching on YouTube, leave your comments down below. Maybe we missed a project that was really disappointing. So let us know what you think would be the most disappointing project of 2022. But I feel like we have named quite a few. So let's move on to positives now, because the rest of this podcast is going to be much more positive.
We could talk negative all day, but positives.
Exactly. Positives for 2022. These are going to be ranked from number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to start with Micah. So if that's different now. If we have this on our list, we're going to wait to talk about what the movie or show means to us. So Micah, you go with your number 5.
Number 5, I'm going to go with Stranger Things 4.
I know you're terribly frightened by what you've seen.
My friends need me.
You're not ready.
There is nothing you can't do. Your friends have lost.
I think it was a really good season. Stranger Things. So great visuals, great character development. I love how they brought back David Harbour, and he was he wasn't gone for any amount of time, but he was supposed dead in the end of season 3 and then back in a good way for season 4. I love the feel and the atmosphere of Stranger Things. They just kept it up for another season. So bottom of the top. It was really good. Really, really good.
Bottom of the top.
The Stranger Things 4 didn't make it onto my list. It made it at number 6. So I'm really glad you have it at number 5, because I'm glad we get to talk about it. And I think it was really exciting. And to me,
love the new characters too.
Yeah, the new characters are great. The character work they did with Sadie Sink's Max, fantastic. It probably had the best episode of television this year, possibly. I think Dear Billy episode 4 is really just great and gave us not only a memorable moment, but that song blew up running up that hill.
Blew up.
She made millions of dollars because she was the lone owner of that song.
Yeah.
Giving us a big bad. I won't spoil who the big bad is for those of you who haven't seen it. But it really just recovered from what a lot of people didn't like in season 3. But to me, the best part about any project is the community that is built around it. And to me, the Stranger Things community, we all sat down together. I don't know if you were there, but we had a watch party for Volume 2 when it came out. That is the peak of what movies and television should do. It should bring people together, and this show did that fantastically.
So Stranger Things 4 is actually my number 5 as well.
Oh, sweet.
I liked it that much. And I was a guy who was pretty disappointed by season 3. So I had no hype going into this. But once I saw that trailer with the Journey Separate Ways song, I was in. And then they used it as the hype song for the final. The perfect time. The amount Stranger Things uses music well, but I think this season of television used music so well, the song choices and everything like that. But the reason it made it on my list is mainly because of one person, and that is Eddie Munson. I will not get into spoilers, but his story in season 4 is so good and so affecting that it makes it as number 5 on my list, and it beats out a Star Wars show. Like, that's how good it is.
Dude,
So
Eddie Munson's big moment.
oh my gosh.
I'm not going to spoil it, but that got me hyped.
If you haven't seen Stranger Things season 4, or maybe have
or
died
any
off,
of Stranger Things,
or any,
like
yes,
Parker Duncan, I know you.
you need to see this. Like,
through
I
season
never,
2.
there are not many shows out here that are doing this. Mandalorian's one of them that are uniting generations for television.
Yes.
And Stranger Things is doing that.
And in a time when, because Disney Plus has switched back to the weekly format.
Yeah.
Episodes come out weekly. In a time where that is hard to come by, and you have Stranger Things making episodes at this level, where if they did weekly, the hype would still be there. Can you imagine that being Stranger Things Day? Waiting all week for a Stranger Things episode.
Yep.
So in a time when Kenobi was coming out, or Book of Boba Fett, shows that really didn't satisfy us. Mm-hmm. The fact that this came out the same weekend as Kenobi.
Yeah, it was
didn't it?
right in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
It was
way better. Like the story,
Miss
they
Marvel was
clearly
coming out,
they had
Kenobi
a
was
vision.
coming out.
Like, this was 4 years in the making, though.
Yeah.
2018 was season 3, so and I will say I'm very excited for season 5. So I'm glad that this made it.
Finale season, right?
Yeah.
That's the end.
Yeah.
Season 5.
So Ethan, I believe your number 5 pick
Is there a
has to be
3-hour
talked about.
episode there in Stranger Things 4 too?
There was a 2-hour,
A 2-hour.
like 20-minute episode, but
So
lots of story.
I'll
yeah.
say this. On my list, I have 2 movies and 3 shows.
Ooh.
And unfortunately, my top 3 are all shows. So I had to split the movies in the back half. So at number 5, which I know this might be higher on your list, but I have The Batman at number 5.
What's black and blue and dead all over?
This is a powder keg. And prisoners to match.
Whoa, take it easy, sweetheart.
I've been trying to reach you.
To me, this is just a great movie. There's no way around it. It was just the dark, gritty vibe of Batman and the way Gotham City is portrayed and the way all the characters are. And Robert Pattinson as Batman, I think, is really fun. And I don't know, it's just a really enjoyable movie. It's a really quality piece of work. And I don't know, I'm not as passionate about it as I am with other things on this list, but I do enjoy it.
I'll have things to talk about later.
I also have that on my list, but it's later. So that's a good number 5. I'm glad that made your list. I am. Micah, go with number 4.
The only platinum trophy on the list goes to Stray on the PS5.
Oh
yeah. I love this game. It came out this year. We can do projects on this list, and I was like,
Anything.
all right. I
Yeah.
played like 2 games this year all the way through. I played through Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, and I played through Stray. And while I platinumed both of these games, I think Lego Star Wars had a bit too much content in it that wasn't like fun. So Stray, that gets the top spot.
Tell people what Stray
Yeah,
is
so
about.
Stray
I know
is
nothing about it.
So you play this cat, right? And I love cats.
Oh.
And this cat misses a jump while hanging out with his cat buddies, and he falls into this kind of fallout shelter robot town. You don't know where you're at, and as you progress through the story, I'll just spoil it because who's going to play this game? It's like 10 hours long, or 5 hours long. Go play through it. It's fun. It's on PlayStation Plus. So you go through this town, and you realize that this fallout shelter never opened back up once the world got better. Kind of like in WALL-E. It's very similar to WALL-E, where they never went back to the planet even after they could have, like the air was breathable, they were able to go down. And now it's just these robots that don't know who they are, and they don't know about humans, but there's this sense of needing personality and just like having community, but there's these blobs of like goop that go and eat the metal and stuff. But yeah, it's a great game. There's tons of great environmental storytelling from the people that used to live in the area, and it's cool to see how these robots creatively use the stuff that the people left to create these new things, and just a great game. Great game all around.
I'm glad a game made it on this list.
Yeah, I had to put one game in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I don't play much video games, but I was over at your place. And
you played it. Did you play it a little bit?
I played a little. Yeah.
It had some 3D touch stuff, or some 3D adaptive triggers. So when you scratch things, it felt like there was resistance.
Really? I was scratching everything.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. So I enjoyed my time with it. But
and it meows through the controller. There's a meow button, so had to...
Dude, if you're a cat person, this sounds like the game to have.
Yeah. You can do all the cat things. You can nap on cardboard boxes. You can drink water out of little puddles. You can scratch trees, couches, rugs.
I am not a cat person. This sounds like
knock
a bad
paint off
time.
of shelves and
Look at
annoy
that.
people.
Wow.
Everything I wanted out of this game. There's even a Back to the Future reference. There's a Doc, and there's they call him Milton or something. I forget. But he's wearing the puffer jacket and the rainbow hat. So
very nice.
Yeah, gotta love that game. And the soundtrack's great too. I'm getting the vinyl. It's coming out in
I'm a
February.
soundtrack guy. Okay, I'm into that.
But yeah,
Ethan, number 4.
Number 4, which is another movie, which means the top 3 are shows, which I previously stated. So my number 1 movie of the year is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mom, just wait.
No time to wait. Very busy.
Across the multiverse, I've seen thousands of Evelyns. If you can imagine it, somewhere out there, it exists.
The universe is bigger than you realize.
Do you think this is funny?
There's no going back.
Of all the places I could be, I just want to be here with you.
Micah will be talking about this later, so I won't exhaust the topic here. But man, what a surprising movie, and a movie where the Marvel really jumped into the multiverse. This movie came out of nowhere, surprised all of us. I think we all 3 watched it together, and it was just so emotional, so enjoyable, so fun. Just such a fun movie, and any movie that can sit down and it works on many levels. It can be fun, it can be emotional, it can be confusing at times. I just really enjoyed this film, and I thought all the performances were great, and yeah, I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say later. Or at least you, Micah. I don't know
it's
if
a little
it made
higher
Ben's
up the
list.
No, okay, so Everything Everywhere All at Once is my 4th. All right,
Oh,
so
all right.
nothing original from me yet. Jeez, you guys are taking my 4th,
think of
5th,
some
and
better
4th
movies,
spot.
huh?
No, dude. Okay, so Everything Everywhere All at Once was absolutely fantastic. Like, you kind of highlighted that the performances, but Michelle Yeoh goes out of her way to really drive home like a super emotional performance. And I forget his name. I'm calling him Short Round because that's how I know it. There are moments in this movie that his line delivery like hits you so hard. I'm not going to spoil. There's a certain scene in the rain that happens, and if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But it is so emotional, and I was so surprised at how much I was into this movie. There was a scene with rocks that almost had me in tears.
Yeah.
It was that good of a movie. And the multiversal events that happened throughout this movie made Multiverse Madness not look like a joke, but I feel like the concept here was done so well.
It didn't help that this came out before Multiverse of Madness, so a lot of people who saw this had this in mind while watching Multiverse of Madness. So, yeah.
I do really like Multiverse of Madness, but this was, in my opinion, like a better multiverse story, I guess.
I agree.
And I like how they use variants, if you call them that.
Yeah, and the way that you have to jump between multiverses, it's such a fun movie.
It is. I know I'll save the rest for. I hope I left some material for you to cover, Micah.
I'm wondering if I
in
should
a
just say it all
non-spoiler.
now.
No. Save it for your pick.
Okay,
save it for your pick. So
I've got some things to say about the directors. So,
yeah, that was all of our 4, right?
Yes.
So number 3, Micah.
Number 3, I've got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Whoa.
Okay.
This universe is only one of an infinite number. Mr. Strange. Who are you?
In this vast multiverse. Stephen Strange, your reckoning is long overdue.
So originally, this was my most hyped movie of the year because I love Raimi. I love the Spider-Man movies. I haven't seen Evil Dead, but I really want to. I just love what he's done with this movie, and I love how it's not just a Marvel movie. It has character. It has his filming style in this movie that makes it just so special. And in a world where we get a Thor: Love and Thunder, where it's just cheap laughs and cheap whatever, and we have She-Hulk, and we have things like Loki that takes itself seriously, and or not like super serious, Moon Knight, and we have all these different things. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness has everything that I love about movies, and Raimi is so good about doing that. He's so good about sprinkling in a little bit of everything. He's got that super emotional romance between Steven and
Yes.
at the wedding, and there's the comedy of various points, and there's a new character with what's her name, America Chavez. She's okay. That's like the only thing about the movie that's okay, whatever. But the multiverse, everything about the multiverse is like, whoa, this is cool. Like
Wanda Maximoff.
We get to see the
Yeah,
multiverse.
can't forget about Wanda.
Yeah, Wanda. We get the multiverse in live action for the first time, isn't it? Yeah. So
Other than Spider-Man.
You get it in full. Like, you really get a sense
you
of
get
the multiverse.
to go to the multiverse for the first time in live action. And I think that's one of
Yeah.
the coolest parts. And how Wanda is astroplaning to different multiverses. That is sick.
Yeah, dreamwalking.
Dreamwalking. That's what it's called.
She gives the best performance, in my opinion, of the film.
And you can't top that scene where she just dumps on the Guardians
Spoilers.
of the...
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
spoilers.
spoilers.
So,
Dumps on people.
yeah.
Yeah. No spoilers.
And then, yeah, that happens.
Yep.
And then another thing
That's
happens.
a great scene.
And then spaghetti happens. And then,
Yep.
and then, yeah, I guess I can't talk about
Yeah,
it
no.
anymore.
So this movie didn't make my list, but I'm really happy to see it on yours because it's a movie I did enjoy, and a lot of people really hated this movie this year.
They hated it, and I
Yeah.
don't understand the
Yep.
hate.
I don't either.
The only thing that I can understand the hate is when they're fighting each other with music notes. But I think that's creative,
I think
and that's just
I
a little
like
Raimi
the
touch.
I love
cheese
that.
in that. I
That's a
like
bit
that
cheesy.
lot. Yeah.
I'm
that's
so
okay.
glad that all three of us are united because I love that movie too. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't make my list, but
It ended, and I was like, that was really
Great.
good.
Yep.
And then the people we watched it with really didn't like it.
They were-
I
no
was
one liked
really
it, man.
surprised. Yeah.
it kind of makes me sad. But
I still don't understand why it gets so much hate.
I don't. I
I
guess
think it's a fun movie. I think
Yes.
the characters are good.
Yeah.
It
And
does
I
a
think-
lot of things right. A lot of different
Yeah,
genres
yeah.
right. Like it does the horror, it does the comedy, it does the romance, it does the drama, it does the sci-fi, it does the what else would you want?
A big complaint is the Wanda character. People say that she jumps too far. But, I mean,
If you saw WandaVision,
WandaVision
No.
ends with her messing with the Darkhold.
Yeah. What?
So I think the line can be drawn. But
It's
if you
easy.
hate this movie, let us know why.
Yeah, I would like to know because we all really like it.
Oh, and the
And we have a podcast of the three of us discussing it at length. So I don't know if we have to dive into it.
We
any
don't.
further.
So go listen to that one if you want our full spoiler-filled thoughts on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse.
I gotta
of
watch that again.
Madness.
I love the cinematography in that
It's
movie.
good.
Too. Raimi is such a good guy.
It's a good movie.
So good, Ben watched it on his honeymoon.
on my honeymoon. That's the only movie I watched on my honeymoon. So
It's worth it.
Let me tell you something.
That must
right
be your
now.
number one then.
No, it's not my number one. It'd probably be like 7 or 8 on my list this year. But Ethan, number 3.
Number 3, I have the best thing to come out of the 2 major fandoms we cover this year.
DC League of Super Pets.
I have Star Wars Andor.
The Empire is choking us. Cassian Andor, I'd like you to come with me. How do you know about me?
You can pilot, you can shoot, you can lie.
Let's put a real stick in the eye of the Empire.
This is what revolution looks like.
Cassian Andor is a threat to the Empire.
There is an organized rebel effort.
Let's call it war.
I'll die trying to take them down.
Andor is everything that Star Wars should be. It's everything that a television show should be. I loved Andor from start to finish. I think the arc style that they did made it so interesting and made it so fresh every episode. And Mike is still working his way through this, so I'm excited
right now.
that you get to finish this. But no, it was so surprising in a year that Book of Boba Fett was coming out and Kenobi was coming out. No one expected Andor to be that show, making a backstory on a character that previously existed in this other property, a prequel on this character that no one really cared about, Andor, and making the show around him and then involving these other characters, Luthen Rael, and it's so complex and so interesting for Star Wars that I couldn't help but put it on this list. But I don't know, Ben, this I'm assuming didn't make your list.
It did not, no. We have an extensive podcast that I really, really enjoyed. Like, that was a great discussion. If you haven't gone and listened to that after you watch Andor, go listen to that podcast because it's very good. I've laid out my thoughts. I have a very complicated view of Andor. It's not even that complicated. It's just I don't share the opinion that it's the greatest thing that Star Wars has done since the original trilogy. It was good, but it's not top 5 material.
It was fantastic. It's
the best thing they've done since the sequel trilogy.
Easily top 5
that's
material.
Well, no. Like, I wouldn't even say that.
Wait, I guess there's Clone Wars. Yeah.
So I am glad, though, that you have such an appreciation for this because it's Star Wars. If you can have an appreciation for anything Star Wars, I am all there for it, even if I don't appreciate it as much as
Yeah, and
else.
I just want to shout out Tony Gilroy and the way he understands these characters. And one of my big arguments in our podcast was how this is really the first story to not focus on a Jedi. And I think that is a highlight of the show because in a world where Jedi become godlike characters and we kind of ignore everyone else who's not Force sensitive, I think that in and of itself is a mistake because we're not Force sensitive as humans. So let's focus on characters that are most like us. So that is a big draw to the show for me.
I'll talk about that more in my upcoming expectation. Yeah.
Got it.
My number 3 is a TV show. It's the one of 2 that makes my top 5. And that is Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power.
Ooh.
You have been told many lies of Middle-earth. Darkness will march over the face of the earth.
Each of us must decide who we shall be.
No one really watched the show, and a lot of the people who did really crapped on it a ton. And I don't see the hate. I do not see the hate because I absolutely was in love with this show from start to finish. There were certain things that were questionable. Galadriel's character in specifically, I still cannot really get around that one. But that's my one complaint. The whole show and its arc of revealing who Sauron was fantastic. His reveal at the end, I was guessing throughout the whole show until, I'm not going to spoil it. But it's about the reveal.
I'm 2 episodes away.
You don't know who he is though.
No, I don't.
I'm not going to spoil that. But who it is had me guessing from start to finish. And that is the draw of the main draw of the show. Because if you're not into world building in the area of Tolkien and the arena that he has made all of his lore, then you're not going to be as interested. But I read the Silmarillion leading up to it, and everything that happened is basically a sequel to the Silmarillion. So it's cool to see these characters get translated into live action. Elendil was fantastic. Elrond is one of the coolest characters translated as a much younger character. I love him, and everything to do with Khazad-dûm and the dwarves was perfect. Numenor is epic. I'm so excited to see where they go and take this show in the 5 seasons that they have for Amazon. And I was a big fan of The Rings of Power Season 1. So that is my number 3.
Nice.
Micah, number 2.
Number 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once. All right. So, as you guys have already said, fantastic movie. I love the emotion in this movie. I love the way it made me feel at the end. It made me feel like, wow, this is maybe an everything bagel makes sense. The bagel with everything on it. So, yes, the rock scene had me tearing up a little bit. I love the hot dog finger universe, and what I love
I'd say I
about
didn't.
That was my one complaint, actually. That one made me a little uncomfortable.
Anyway, the directors, the Daniels. I don't know if you guys have seen Swiss Army Man, but their goal with that movie was for the first fart to make you laugh, and the last fart to make you cry. And they succeeded.
About a farting horse, right?
No, it's about a corpse that is dragged around in the woods and talks to the guy about his love life.
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay. So, and the corpse is Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh.
So, very awesome movie. We got to watch it together sometime. Anyway, I think that they succeeded in keeping that spirit for this movie, where the first joke makes you laugh, and the last joke, it really hits you right there.
Yeah, it does.
And that's what I love about the Daniels, is that they go all out. Like this movie would not have worked if they were not fully committed, if everyone were not in this movie to make it what it is. I love the cultural aspect. I feel like I learned a little bit about this family and how they live and how their cultural values are. And it feels like a lived-in world. And I thought that was super cool. Like, we're just getting a slice of their life, and it happened to be when the daughter is a multiversal god or something. I just think that's so cool, and I need to watch this movie again.
Yeah.
Indeed.
That's about all I got to say
That's
about
a good
it.
number 2.
That's my movie of the year. That is. Yeah. It's a great pick.
Yeah, I got to take a good number 2. Yeah. Number 2. What do you got, Ethan?
Ethan, your number 2. Looks like you're still debating right now.
I'm not debating. I just am debating how I want to say this.
Okay.
But Better Call Saul is my number 2 this year. Better Call Saul season 6.
I am not your friend. And if you get greedy and you decide to come back for more, don't. Fact is, Walter White couldn't have done it without me. So, after all that, a happy ending.
For a show that spun off of Breaking Bad and everyone was questioning the premise and why are we making a show on a character that was kind of comedic relief? And man, Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, they hit it out of the park with this. The layers they give to Jimmy McGill, to Saul Goodman, is so good. And he's now my new favorite Breaking Bad character. Before it was probably Jesse Pinkman, but now I'd say James McGill is number 1. And just what they do in season 6, the build-up. So the whole series is a slow burn. It really is. They master the slow burn, and they really take their time telling a story. And it all comes to a head in season 6. And with just characters that they built up in Better Call Saul that aren't in Breaking Bad, they have the stakes there. So a big critique with prequels is we get it with Andor also. What's the point of following this character if we know that they survive till this certain point? And I'd say that's not the point. The point is to see their emotional journey, see what brought them to where they are, see them for why they are the way that they are. And this show does that to perfection. But it surrounds Jimmy McGill, Saul Goodman, this character, with characters who don't make it into Breaking Bad, who aren't in Breaking Bad, so we don't know what their fate is. So there the tension is built on these side characters. Well, we know that Saul Goodman, our main character, is safe. We don't know about these side characters. And I think that the tension and just the personal stakes and emotions, they masterclass it. And the finale is probably my episode of the year for television. And great ending to the show.
Is it better than the finale of Breaking Bad?
So it's this debate is fun. Which show is better? To me, so Better Call Saul cannot exist without Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Or without Breaking Bad. You need Breaking Bad. in the mix, because the ending kind of heavily relies on Breaking Bad. I'm not spoiling anything by saying that, but you need Breaking Bad for Better Call Saul to work. But to me, the end of the day, I'd put Better Call Saul higher than Breaking Bad.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Wow.
I love this
Okay.
show.
Pick it back up. I'm on season 4.
I love the character of Saul Goodman and just all the character work they can do with him. And they make me feel for this character that I kind of thought I thought he was fun in Breaking Bad, but the emotions that they draw out of me. Now when I watch Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad, I can't help but pity that man and feel bad for the man that he was and what he now became.
Better Call Saul, man. Number 2 for Ethan. So I still am debating this even right now.
So let's see here. Just by reading the room, you're debating for number 2 and number 1, Top Gun Maverick and the Batman.
So I'm not going to say, but yeah. I'm going to have, so it's like, it's
How do you pick between Hans Zimmer's? I mean,
9.9 and 9.9. It's like, what are you going to do? On a certain day, I like this movie better. On a certain day, I like this movie better. But you know what? I'm going to have to go because of the story. I'm going to have to go The Batman as number 2.
ooh.
Matt Reeves, The Batman. Jeez, holy cow. We went and saw this movie on the day, 2 days before opening night.
That's right. We did
that
go
Tuesday?
early.
And
Yeah.
the Tuesday that this movie came out, and holy crap. We went and saw it in IMAX, and it's a special experience. I'll
We all
never
wore
forget.
ties.
We dressed up for it, man. I got a Batman popcorn thing. It's probably one of the coolest movie experiences of my life. And then I sat down for 2 hours and 50 minutes and watched one of the best Batman films I will ever watch. Matt Reeves directed the heck out of this movie, and Robert Pattinson played such an excellent Batman that I am so excited to see where this goes, and I want it to stay self-contained because his universe that he just built, the Gotham that is portrayed in this movie is so excellent that everything leading up to, and especially how this movie ends, the message from the start of where Batman starts and where he ends, his character arc is fabulous in this movie. And I'm a music guy. I love film scores, and Michael Giacchino, one of the GOATs, did such an excellent job with the score for this movie that the Batman theme was my most played song in 2022, and that says something. It took over the culture, man. This movie was huge. Everything about it was epic, and I mean that's why it's number 2. It's nearly perfect in my opinion. I have nothing bad to say other than it really is not a rewatchable movie because it's as long as it is.
It loses a lot of edge in the rewatch.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's more of a movie you got to watch like once every year. Give it enough time in between watches to where you can be like, all right, let me go back into this. Kind of like a Lord of the Rings because that's how much meat is on this bone. So Batman is my number 2. Micah, this is your best movie or show or project of the year. What is that project?
I think I watched it 4 times opening weekend.
The Batman?
The Batman. I think I watched it. I'm pretty sure I watched it once on Thursday, once on Friday, and then 2 on Saturday.
Wow.
Back to back,
Wow.
pretty much.
Wow. So would you say this is your
Oh, yeah,
number
that was
one?
my
This is
number
number
1.
one? Yeah.
I accidentally said that Hans Zimmer. No, it was Michael Giacchino.
I
You're
got what you were saying.
Yep. But yeah, The Batman, number 1 of the year. I love it so much. I got the vinyl. I got the 4K Steelbook. I got the VHS tape. I even have that. So I love this movie. I love how he's a detective. He's the world's greatest detective.
Yes.
And he's actually a detective in
Finally.
this movie.
I think that's really cool. It does. So I'm sure going into this movie, when they were making it, they were like, how do we top Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight? How do we make this Batman so different from the other Batman?
There you go, different.
His own character, just like with Joker, just like with Heath Ledger Joker. how do we make this so that they're not comparing it to the other Batman? They can say, oh, okay, this is a different Batman.
Mm-hmm.
This is different enough where we can categorize it with a different thing.
Yeah.
And I love how he works so closely with Commissioner Gordon. It's a buddy cop movie, and this is awesome. I love this movie. I love how dark everything is. Go listen to our podcast, please.
Yeah.
You'll get our immediate
The
thoughts.
real reason Micah loves this movie is because it is the movie that
The debut
brought him to the
of
podcast.
Albert Duna. I mean, of Micah Head on this podcast. But I love this. I love how Batman is a threat to these criminals in this movie. Like, okay, yeah, in other movies it's like, oh, Batman's out, he's out. No. This movie, people are scared.
You can feel every punch.
They are
The
terrified.
sound design of the punches.
There is nothing that will compare to the first time I saw this movie, and he's talking about how he is. What does he say? It's like the symbol is. They're scared. There's a fear.
From the shadow.
I can't be everywhere. I've got to pick my battles.
That opening
They're scared
monologue.
of the dark. Yeah, the opening monologue.
Say I'm
where-
hiding in the shadows.
Yeah.
But I am the shadows.
I am the shadows. And it's like you're putting yourself in the shoes of the criminal because you're like, okay, here he is. He's gonna be in these shadows. Nope, he's not there yet. And then it goes to the burglar, and he's like, no, it's not in the shadows, is he? Oh no, he's not. Oh, now we're in the subway. It can't be him now. Oh, it's not gonna be him.
All the
and then
while
you hear
in the
wet
background.
squelching of the boots. You hear the. Who are you? Who's this guy? Look at this guy just as a bat. And then he goes, I have vengeance. And he goes crazy on these guys.
Oh, dude.
I love that scene.
It's
The-
great. That's your number one.
That's my number one of the year.
Good.
I love the Batman.
Yep. Very, very good.
I don't regret watching it that many times. It may have even been 5 times. I don't even remember. And then I watched it that next Tuesday, I'm pretty sure, too. Wow. So
And you found this rewatchable?
no.
No.
No. By the time I got to the 5th one, I was like, okay.
You're burnt out, right? You can't do
I mean,
it.
it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah,
You gotta.
I watched it twice in theaters, and the second watch, I felt the
Me too.
burn a little.
Oh yeah. The second time I was like, okay, I can see. Another thing I loved about this movie was the ARG that went around it. So there were some things online where they had the Batman, the web game, where there were the riddles and the Riddler, and then at the end of it they showed the Joker interrogation. That was cool.
Yeah.
With what's his name from Eternals?
Barry Keoghan.
Yep. That was cool. Can't wait for the sequel.
Paul Dano as a Riddler. I don't know if we highlighted that yet.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Great
Loved how
movie.
he felt like a actually insane person. He felt like he related to like he was working with the Batman, but he wasn't. Go listen to our podcast.
Yep.
That's more complete than this one. Yeah.
Number one. Mr. Wentzloff, your best project of the year.
My best project of the year. So if you've talked to me at all throughout this year, I have referenced this many times. I've told you two gentlemen to go watch this on many occasions. My number one thing of the year is
Daredevil didn't come out this year.
Daredevil did not come out this year. This is Severance on Apple TV Plus, starring Adam Scott.
Okay, go ahead and have a seat.
My name is Mark S.
I'm Ellie R.
My name is Irving B.
My name is Dylan G.
And I have, of my own free accord,
elected to undergo the procedure
known as severance.
Your number
This
one.
is the best thing I watched this year, and it's not even close.
Whoa.
I watched this early enough in the year to where everything else that came out, I compared this to. And you know me, I am a television guy over a movie guy any day. I think the stories that you can tell with television is much greater than with movies. I'm a character guy through and through, and I think the love of characters is a lot more present in television, and I think you can fall in love with a character a lot easier in television. And this show is just fantastic. I'm not going to spoil much of the show, but it is a mystery show about something called the severance procedure, where a person can decide to go under the severance procedure, where basically they create a second personality in their brain that goes to work for them. So Adam Scott's character, he shows up to work. He hops in an elevator. He goes down the elevator. His brain switches into his second personality. So they call it the innie and the outie. His outie never goes to work, but his innie never leaves work. So in that form of storytelling, you get Adam Scott playing two lead characters with two different personalities, and you get to see that this story unfold, and it was just so good, so interesting. And the finale, I keep saying, like I said this with Stranger Things, I said this with Better Call Saul, this finale is probably my episode of the year. I keep changing.
Whoa.
I keep changing my opinion, but this is also a slow burn, this show, but it's so good, and Ben Stiller directs it. And
Whoa.
yeah,
Okay,
I'm
didn't
super
know that.
excited for season 2. No confirmation on when that's coming out, but yes.
You're welcome for the Apple TV.
Yes,
Plus.
I use Micah's Apple TV.
I didn't
Plus
watch a
account.
single thing on Apple TV Plus for the year of free subscription that I had, and like the 6 months that I paid for. I didn't. I just kept forgetting.
Dang.
It's canceled now. But
Number 1, we have the Batman, and now we have Severance. I didn't think this was. I thought it was going to make your list, but I didn't think it was going to be number 1.
Oh, it's number 1.
I know you've been talking about it all year, man. Might have to
I
give
have
it a
not
watch.
seen either of the Top Gun movies.
Who said that was my number 1?
Everyone.
I was
in
just saying it.
existence.
That was just
No,
offhand comment.
No, Top Gun Maverick is without a doubt.
Greetings, aviators. This is your captain speaking.
And where the hell is he?
What the hell? I'm right here.
Maverick, your kind is headed for extinction.
Smoke in the air! Smoke in the air!
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
This movie, I went to see this 3 times in theaters. And Batman, I went and saw it twice, and I didn't really like the second one. So maybe that is why it edges it out a little bit. But the story behind this movie is absolutely fantastic. Tom Cruise back in this movie, not making this movie for sequel money, just to get more money. No, he made it because he had a story in mind. He wouldn't do this movie without Iceman, even though Val Kilmer has a real-life illness that they worked into the story so excellently. The score for this movie is absolutely epic by Hans Zimmer, of course. You're only going to get great stuff with him. And all of the actors, the story is fantastic, especially Miles Teller, who plays Goose's son. And there's something about Tom Cruise in this movie that gets me like emotional, because I feel like he's getting older and he knows it. You know, he's 60 now and he's starting to show it. You know, he's looked young for a while, but he's starting to really show it. But in this, it feels like his magnum opus in real life and on television, because he waited for this. This movie was supposed to come out in 2020. He waited 2 years to release this movie because he knew that it was going to be something audiences wanted. And that's another thing why this movie is so great, is because these types of movies are not really made anymore. The focus on character development and story first and foremost, and not pandering to... It's very hard right now in Hollywood to find a movie that is not for someone. It's very hard to find a movie that is for everyone. So this movie was absolutely for everyone. There's a reason it was in movie theaters for 20 plus weeks. There's a reason it made over $1 billion at the box office. A Top Gun sequel that very few people asked for, that everyone, and I am not kidding you, everyone loved. I have not met a single person who did not like Top Gun Maverick. Even if you disliked the first one, there's something about this movie that is just appealing to everyone.
Yeah,
and that's why it's number 1.
Just like Stranger Things was able to do, it brings generations together. I don't see many movies with my dad, but this is a movie that I took him to the theater to see. And it was great. It was such a refreshing movie, and a movie that's dominated by, or in a day and age that's dominated by superhero movies. This was a nice break. And yeah, it was a nostalgic trip. I didn't grow up watching the first Top Gun. I watched the first Top Gun in prep to see Top Gun Maverick. So I got to see the comparison. So it didn't emotionally resonate with me as much as it might have with a Top Gun fan, but it was a great movie, and I love Tom Cruise, and I'll talk about Tom Cruise later today a little bit more.
Oh, and that's going to be in our most anticipated section of 2023, which we will now move to. But best projects of the year for Micah, you have The Batman. For Ethan, you have Severance. And for me, it's Top Gun Maverick. Let us know if you're watching on YouTube in the comments below what your favorite project of this year, what projects we might have missed. I feel like we did cover a lot of the great ones from 2022. Overall, it was a great year for film and television and video games alike.
I have 6 projects or movies that I just want to shout out real quick. I'm not going to talk about them at all, really, but Black Adam was awesome. RRR was awesome. That's an Indian movie, actually.
I almost watched it, but that's 3 hours and
it's
7
3 hours
minutes.
of super ridiculous
I've heard it's
action.
insane.
The Northman, fantastic. Elvis was really good. Some people didn't like The Gray Man, but I loved it.
Northman was really good.
Yeah, and then Nope. Those are my shout-outs. So those are good.
Honorable mention goes to
recommend those.
The Spider-Man No Way Home re-release, just because it's peak.
The More Fun Stuff edition.
The more fun stuff. Honorable mention for that one. But let us know down below what you thought was the best one. And now we're going to move into...
Oh, and then Werewolf by Night.
Our most... There you go. That's another great one. Our most exciting, most anticipated projects of 2023. So, Micah, go with number 5.
Number 5, I've got Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Because it's a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Looks
Of course.
epic. They recreated a nuclear bomb blast without CGI. Can't wait.
And they've got every actor in Hollywood in this movie.
Well, it's Nolan.
Plus, it's Christopher Nolan, so you're going to go see that. Yeah,
of course,
that's going to
IMAX.
be
Cillian Murphy.
That's going to be hype.
Oh, yeah.
Coming out, I think, in June. I'm not so sure about that. It's a summer release. I know that. So, Ethan, number 5.
Let's go Mandalorian Season 3 I have in this spot. And, yeah, not a lot to say. Din Djarin, Baby Grogu. I'm pumped. I think the only reason I'm a little less pumped for this is the work they did in the Book of Boba Fett. But either way, I'm still really excited for this season. It looks like another great season of television, and the first 2 seasons were great.
Indeed. How can you not be excited for this? I mean, it's a show that took over Hollywood by storm. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, though. For me, number 5 is Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. I am a huge Transformers fan. I just recently rewatched all 5 of the original Michael Bay films. And while they do have their faults, and they have many, there's just something about it. Optimus Prime is an absolute beast. I love Peter Cullen in that role, and I cannot wait to see what a competent filmmaker will do with an actual Transformers storyline. Plus Optimus Primal. I mean, come on. This movie looks absolutely insane. Ron Perlman as Optimus Primal.
Peter
Come on.
Dinklage.
Like this movie is gearing up to possibly be an epic movie. And I had to include this on my 2023 hype list. So that's number 5 for me.
Anthony Ramos, too. That's cool.
Yeah. Micah, number 4.
All right, number 4, Indiana Jones 5.
Ooh, okay.
Pumped for that.
Okay.
Should be coming out this year.
June. Yep.
June?
For sure. That's a hard release date.
Okay.
June 30th, my birthday.
June 30th. Well, happy birthday. There you go.
Happy birthday. You get an Indiana Jones fan.
Yes, I love Indiana Jones. I grew up with... I remember my first Indiana Jones memory is going to Walmart as I was like maybe 10, 9, something like that. And I saw, I want to get the cowboy movies. So I picked up Indiana Jones, the box set.
Oh yeah,
the
VHS?
3 movie DVD box set.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
the first 3 are peak. I kind of like the 4th one, but
I don't.
it's a step down from the.
It's a step
from
down.
The
I
first
don't think
3.
it's trash.
No, I don't think
I'll
it's
have to
trash
rewatch
either.
it, though.
No, I'm planning on doing a rewatch for those movies for sure. So,
but yeah, not much else to say on that.
Ethan, number 4.
Number 4, I have Ahsoka.
Ooh, I forgot.
And this is a character that I have grown to love in the past few years. And I just texted Ben this yesterday when I sat down to watch The Bad Batch Season 2. I reminded him that when Season 1 came out, I had not seen any of Star Wars Rebels or any of Clone Wars. And now I have had the luxury of seeing all of that. And yes, Ahsoka is an amazing character. And the little bits we've gotten in Mandalorian and in Book of Boba Fett, I'm so excited for Rosario Dawson's portrayal and to get to see her head up a show.
Yes.
And not only heading up a show, but having this be kind of a season 6 or season 5 of Rebels.
It's definitely
I'm really
looking
excited
that way.
for that. Where I think that my favorite characters from Rebels will be absent from the show to avoid spoilers, but I'm really excited for Ahsoka, and I wish I could put it higher on my list, but there are other things I'm more excited for. And I know this will appear on.
Yes.
And it's coming out after Jedi Survivor, so
Listen,
Cal Kestis.
Cal Kestis.
March is going to be a huge year for Star Wars. Let's just say that.
March is a huge year.
Month, I should say. Yeah, no. Thank you for correcting me. My number 4 is Loki season 2. I had to put this on the list. I was actually reminded of it just recently that it was indeed coming out this year, and I had to put it on the list because holy crap, season 1 is my second favorite Phase 4 project. One of the best things that Marvel has done in recent years, and I don't even know where they're gonna go, but I trust the process. And Loki season 1 was a blast. I hope and probably am assured that Loki season 2 will keep that up because it's going to deal with huge things. And I'm really excited. Tom Hiddleston's great. So that's my number 4. Number 3, Micah.
John Wick 4.
Whoa, I'm so glad you put this on there.
Pumped for John Wick 4. This is a movie that, so I bought the trilogy on Black Friday a couple years back, and then I watched it with my dad, and oh man, we are John Wick fans, man. We love John Wick now. So this is totally going to be a movie I watch with my dad. We're going to go to the movies and see what happens to
I do the same thing
John
with
Wick.
my dad, yeah.
Keanu Reeves, man.
Yep. Did you see that poster? He's got a freaking samurai sword, dude, on the poster. And Donnie Yen is in this new one. So
Dude.
I'm so excited. You watch those movies for the action choreography.
Oh, yeah,
though.
yeah.
This
is
breathtaking.
the best gunplay you will ever see in a movie.
Very
best.
I'm with you. It didn't make my list, but I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Ethan, number 3, are we on?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
number 3.
My number 3 is another Tom Cruise franchise. You know, Top Gun didn't really resonate with me, but this franchise sure as heck does. My number 3 is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I think ever since the third Mission Impossible film, each film has just gotten better and better with more fun, more action. And I mean, the practicality of Tom Cruise and the real stunts that he does, I'm only excited for this. And Haley Atwell is also going to be in this movie. And we all know that I'm a big Haley Atwell fan. So, yes, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning.
I'm hoping to get it all done and watched before that, because anytime Hollywood decides to do like a part 1, part 2 deal, it usually ends up turning out very well because there's a story that just can't be told in one movie. And that's why my number 3 is a part 1 and part 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Dude.
Oh, I forgot to.
I am so unbelievably excited for this sequel to.
It was supposed to come out.
Get rid of
this
Oppenheimer,
year.
drop everything down. That's my new number 3.
Okay, perfect. And well deserved. Like, it's coming out in June. Spider-Verse was my favorite Spider-Man movie until No Way Home came out. So it's safe to say I'm very excited for this movie, and seeing the trailer, and I'm just into it, man. There's so many spider people in this movie that I can't help but be so excited for June to come around. Summer's going to be an epic time, that's for sure. Number 2, Micah.
This is probably my most anticipated game ever. I love Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes.
It was probably one of the best games I've ever played, besides like God of War. God of War was fantastic. But yeah, Jedi Survivor.
Yep.
Oh man, Cal Kestis looks sick in this game. I cannot wait to see what they do with the Inquisitors. I can't wait to see where they take the story. I kind of hope for some movie integration, some show integration a little bit,
Maybe
get a
Andor
little bit
will
of that
show up.
crossover. We got Saw Gerrera in the last game. I'm hoping for something else in this one. Some like surprise TV or movie character, maybe Ahsoka. That could be cool.
It could happen. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. So Jedi Survivor, looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's going to be a great one. I'm greatly looking forward to that too. It's coming out in March, along with Mandalorian Season 3. So that's why I said March is going to be a big month for Star Wars fans in general.
Oh, yeah.
Ethan, number 2.
My number 2, so a lot that goes into the movies is the marketing around it. And to me, marketing to this was genius. My number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And dropping the holiday special and then days later dropping the first trailer for this movie, such a smart move. It was such a smart move because getting to watch the holiday special and then watching the trailer for Guardians 3 reminded me how much I love these characters that are the Guardians, and reminded me how I haven't really had this feeling about MCU characters in a long, long time, because I've overall been a defender of Phase 4, but it has not made me feel the way that Guardians trailer made me feel. Definitely not. So it's not only reminded me of the love I had for the early MCU, but it's gotten me pumped for this movie. And it is James Gunn's last film in the MCU, because he's going on to do DC films now. So I think he's going to bring his A game. And this is the last Guardians movie. And Dave Bautista has been nothing but advertised his quote-unquote death. Who knows? He's saying he's done with the character. So it's going to be an emotional end to this story. And I'm a big fan of the first two films, and I think this will be a great closer to the trilogy.
Yeah, that's a great number.
If you want more Guardians, the game is awesome.
Yeah,
the game is
you're saying that. I really want to play that game.
Yeah.
I mean, the trailer just looks so good. I totally agree with you on that one. My number 2 is The Mandalorian Season 3. I am so much looking forward to seeing where he goes. I do agree with Ethan that it's kind of weird, although I will say if he was going to get Grogu back, I'm glad it happened in Book of Boba Fett. Because if that was the whole plan originally, which I don't think it was.
How do you think they'll address that in the show? You think they'll have
show
a little flashback?
Flashbacks. Like
he
the
gets Grogu, yeah.
The previously on type deal. That's what they'll do. So I'm glad it happened in Book of Boba Fett, because I don't want to sacrifice the time that we spend with The Mandalorian Season 3 getting Grogu back. You know, as much as I don't like him being in the story, I think that if that's going to happen, I'm glad it happened there, and we can move on with the story, because it looks like this is going to be all Mando as far as we're going back to Sundari, the capital of Mandalore, and it looks like maybe Din Djarin might get reinstated as a Mandalorian in the mines of Mandalore. It's looking so good, and Mandalorian just is a really great show with 2 solid seasons already, so I'm greatly looking forward to that one. That's my number 2. Micah, your most anticipated project of 2023.
I'm so glad you guys haven't said it yet. Dune Part 2.
Oh my gosh.
Dune Part 2. Dude. Oh my goodness. Dune Part 1. So you go into Dune, opening night. You didn't even know, I didn't even know it was Dune Part 1 until the crawl started. It was like, Part 1. What? This is Part 1. Insane. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
To see this. Yep. They just finished filming, I think 2 months ago, last month, something like that. It comes out in like November, October.
October, yeah.
My dad texted me a couple weeks back. He's like, "Hey, when's Dune 2 coming out?" I said, it's
dude.
coming out this year, right? Right, Dad?
Oh, yeah.
No, it's coming out next year. Oh no. Yeah, he was like, it's been a while since that first Dune movie came out, and I really liked that movie. Yeah. I took my parents to see that movie in IMAX. I was like, Mom, Dad, this movie, I'm hype about this one. I have good feelings about it, so we're gonna go IMAX. I'm gonna buy these tickets, and we're just gonna go see it. I think I took my sister to it too. She slept through the whole thing, whatever. And
stupid sister.
Yeah, stupid sister, whatever. But my mom and dad, like, this is one of those movies that gets them talking about it afterwards. They were talking about the lore on the way home. Can you believe that? What movie gets my parents talking about lore?
That is epic.
And the politics of Arrakis. Like, what?
Dude, I'm so glad you said this, because I actually forgot about this movie. I love the first Dune. I'm right there with you.
Oh, man. I love Dune. All right.
As someone who was pretty cold on the first Dune movie.
It was a really warm movie, though.
I know. I have to give it a rewatch, but the first watch of this film,
it was tarnished. Ethan.
I don't.
You
care.
had a bad watch.
I don't care. Yeah.
You gotta come over to my place. We gotta pump up the sound.
Because I went and rewatched it in IMAX.
This
like a week
is
later,
an IMAX
and
movie.
Holy crap! It blew my pants off the first time, but it blew my pants off the second time. I was naked
please,
in the theater, bro. I was naked. I got arrested.
No, stop.
I knew people that hated this movie just because Zendaya was only in it for like 15 minutes.
Simps.
Simps.
Dude, the story,
No,
the
they were
soundtrack,
girls.
the score. Dude, oh my gosh. It's beautiful. Love it.
Oh yeah.
I like
that,
the.
got
I'm
that
so
on
glad you
vinyl and
mentioned that.
4K steelbook. Ooh.
Oh yeah, I got
bought
it for Christmas. The 4K.
Nice.
I was so happy. Good pick, number 1.
Thank you,
Ethan.
So
Your
yes,
most
you're
anticipated.
going to see the way that mine and Ben's list kind of flip-flop. I had the Star Wars shows on the bottom. He had the Marvel stuff on the bottom of his. Number 1 most anticipated project, I have Loki Season 2. I think the first season of this was such a refreshing break from what has now become a formula for the Marvel shows, and Loki still stands above the rest.
Definitely.
And I'm rewatching the first season of Loki right now because I'm hoping to maybe do a YouTube video about it someday. I've had the dreams of doing that for a long time, and even rewatching it holds up. Just the characters of Mobius and Sylvie.
Oh man, it's so
Loki,
good.
B-15, the side agent, Ravonna Renslayer, and the introduction of Kang, the next big bad in the MCU. And I do find it funny none of us have Quantumania on our list, which I think has potential to be a really good movie. But Loki is where it's at.
Yes.
And that season ending the way it cliffhangs. And Marvel knows that this is a show. Even when season 1 ended, they knew we're coming back for season 2. This is a story that we want to tell. And I was bummed that we didn't get to see Loki in No Way Home, and we didn't get to see Loki in Multiverse of Madness.
Or Morbius.
Yeah, sure.
It's all
But
about multiverse movies.
it builds up the hype for Loki season 2, and I hope we don't see Loki in Quantumania either. Or if we do, I hope it's a post-credit scene that leads into Loki, because I think that'll be really special and something that Mandalorian season 2 won't have, where I want Loki season 1 to end and be able to roll right into Loki season 2, whereas with Mando season 2, you can't do that now because you do have the Book of Boba Fett in there. So I'm greatly excited for Loki season 2 and to show that Natalie Holt brings her A game on.
It could be cool if Loki shows up in the middle of Quantumania, just somewhere, and is just like a mid-movie teaser to Loki 2.
It better not be a mid-movie.
Whoa. I don't know.
That movie's coming out next freaking month.
I know.
Like, I
February?
can't believe that. So I'm greatly anticipating that.
That trailer was really awesome too.
I'm glad. I didn't think Loki would be 1 on your list, but you didn't name it as you were going. I was like, dang, he's gonna put that number 1. Very epic, man. My number 1. I'm hoping not to have the same thing happen to me. I'm hoping for history not to repeat itself.
Please,
here.
Ahsoka, be good.
Please. Ahsoka's definitely, without a doubt, beyond miles, my number 1. I think that the only thing that has this going for it is that Dave Filoni is the sole writer and director behind this show. It is his complete vision. And you what?
As it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that Rebels characters are going to appear in it, the fact that Thrawn might appear, the fact that Ezra is coming back, the continuation to one of the best Star Wars stories in Rebels that we have here, as well as Ahsoka's story. The rumors are off the chain. I hope some of them aren't true. I hope some of them are. But it's looking to be an epic show, and I just hope that it doesn't let us down like Obi-Wan Kenobi did.
Yeah.
And I don't think it will. I really don't think it will, but
Expectations
we
are
will
also
see.
different, too.
Yes, absolutely.
You have the man who created this character
Yeah.
getting able to write more of this character. So
Yes.
it's completely different than the Kenobi stuff.
So that's without a doubt my most anticipated project. So that one we don't have a release date for, but it's probably going to be fall, winter time for Ahsoka. So that one's going to be way out. But that is our most anticipated projects, ladies and gentlemen.
You mean to tell me you guys aren't ready for The Flash? You guys aren't ready for Blue Beetle?
Yeah,
what about Kraven the
honorable
Hunter?
mention
DC on the list.
Honorable mention goes to Super Mario Bros. Movie, which
Yes.
I would say we're all very hyped for. I want it to be
Barbie.
good because Barbie's another one that really, I'm
Something
excited
I want
for.
to shout out
Yeah.
that's coming on the 15th. It's relatively soon. We have The Last of Us. And me and Micah have decided recently that we want to try to podcast on
Try
every
to,
episode of
keyword.
that. So, yeah, try to. And if the show ends up sucking, we might ditch that. But I don't anticipate it sucking.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
Looks awesome.
Yeah.
It is a video game adaptation, and like 3 projects in history have been good video game adaptations, among very many bad ones.
Yeah, and
so
another thing I'm pretty excited for, but it's nowhere near making it on the list. We got Jenna Ortega's really big right now with Wednesday. We got her starring in Scream 6 coming up. So I
Scream movies.
I watched all 5 Scream movies for the first time this past year, and I greatly enjoyed them. So I'm excited for Scream 6.
Nice. Let us know what you guys thought, or what we may have missed, or what's your number one. What?
A Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh, this came out this year?
Day 1, I mean. Quiet Place Day 1.
Dude, why are they making more of that?
I
That's
don't
what
know.
I say.
Blade.
Not coming out this year.
Not coming out this year. No way. The Marvels.
That will be out this year. They'll have to make me excited for that.
Yep.
They can.
That's about everything
They can,
for...
but I'm not there yet.
So that is our most hype movies. Let us know what you thought down in the comments below. And I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I want to highlight this movie didn't make any of our lists, and we didn't mention it today, but The Barbarian was a pretty good movie this year that I think deserves some praise as far as horror movies go. I found it pretty enjoyable.
Smile was okay too. I saw that. But yeah.
An excellent 2022, but what's looking to be an
Boys
even
Season
more
3.
promising. Yeah, that was good. Didn't make my list. I don't even think it was very close to making my list. It was good, but there's a lot better projects. But it's looking to be an even more promising 2023. So
Invincible, did that come out this year too?
No.
that was 2021.
But yeah,
hopefully we're closer and closer to getting a season 2 because
really
season
hope,
1 was
yeah.
epic. So I think that does it, ladies and gentlemen. And we've been on here for quite a while. What are we at right now?
Right now we're looking at an hour and 50.
Hour 50.
Wow.
So
almost.
Hey, listen, we're excited and we're very passionate about the stuff we've just seen. So just like any film nerds, I'm sure you guys are too. So we hope you've enjoyed and stayed this long through this lengthy podcast. But without further ado, this is Ben Rayside.
This is Ethan Wensloff.
This is Micah Head.
Signing off. We all hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.
May the force be with you.